course, both these teams have been facing an elimination match before, ending up second in the group, but now they've made it to the playoffs, but they're not in the bracket. Also have
5 seconds
after this, which is going to be Liquid versus Bears, which I know a lot of people are very excited about. Gods,
Radiant team.
I don't know really where to start. Do you want to start with the patch that dropped last night, or do you want to start with Secret and Cloud9, and what are your thoughts?
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve
It does seem
time.
like Secret's a bit of a slower team. Aside from the laning phase, where Puppey is able to oftentimes make a lot happen with his I feel like Secret's a little bit slower team, and I'm not sure if that's going to match up well against Cloud9. At least the roaming of Puppey is going to be shut down pretty quickly, I think, just due to Cloud9's willingness to go 5-man by, I mean, every single game. I'm surprised by like 8 minutes or something like that. They're already trying to push down towers as a group. That being said, a lot of that was based around their draft, and we are going to see a part of that draft be taken away. Cloud9 are actually ban away the themselves.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Right? It was decently big. I mean, we had a lot of talent tree changes, Lycan being added to Sun, and I think that is particularly important. Lycan was, I don't know about your pubs, Gods. What the hell do you do in your pubs, by the way, Gods? Mid-Chen, Dagon? What are you doing to those poor Aussies?
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
You know,
reserve time. Team Secret's turn to pick.
When it's on the enemy team, because it is incredibly strong. I think it would fit into Cloud9's roster very well. Maybe we'll have to wait until they get first pick, because they seem to be a little bit leery about giving away two of these very close to OP pushers, Lone Druid as well as the like. And notice that Lone Druid is still being banned away despite the talent change. Let's be honest, he didn't receive a massive nerf. It was just really a bit of a tweak more.
Slada.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
I'm just not gonna absorb enough of this. But I know Rubik did not get a nerf. In fact, he got 10 damage off at level 10. I thought maybe that would be the response here. Instead, they're gonna go with Earth Spirit to start. I presume they're gonna want to leave their other support still out there. So Or just prove me
Team
wrong
Secret's
twice in a row.
turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Strong still, or did that change the root, the fire remnant root interaction? That just nerf him down to
Radiant team ban.
maybe a 4 or 5 pickup. We're gonna go ahead and nice open hero with secret and the wisp.
10 seconds remaining.
Plenty of ways to
5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Team Secret's turn to ban.
ion shell, but you're always going to double it when you go in that creep wave, and that means you can be all the more punished if you actually get successfully zoned out in that
10
first wave and don't get your
remaining.
level 2. Maybe you have to jungle and do those sort of things. Like
5
everything is
seconds
going to
remaining.
be, I guess, have a lot more variance to Darkseer. You could still be very successful, I
Reserve
think,
time.
if you get that first wave, you get your level 2, and you are well on your way to Soul Ring. But I think there's a lot more opportunity to punish Darkseer.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I think what the other two being maybe
Reserve
Lone Druid,
time.
again, more of a tweak than anything. And then I know Luna received a bit of a nerf. I think the oh yeah. Oh, level 1 to level 2 atrophy aura is a 400% increase. That's the way I looked at it. I was like, Jesus Christ. Underlord's gonna have a lot harder time.
Team Secret's turn to ban.
Yeah, I think so. I think that actually may be what you have to do. All right, so Enigma going to be banned away by Cloud9, it
10
seems.
seconds
Trying to pick it
remaining.
up for themselves. Lifestealer, the life to the bomb. You're going to still have
Radiant
Darkseer
team
taken out of the
pick.
pool despite the nerf that he received. And 3-4, as well as the Weaver. Weaver and Slardar. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see Weaver in that.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Not major.
Reserve time. Luna. Team Secret's turn to pick.
What about Puppy's Chen? That received a buff. I don't think they're necessarily going to be running this, but that was one of the heroes that, if I recall
10
correctly, did
seconds
have a bit of a buff. Whether or not you, I mean, level 15 is kind of like past the
5
point of
seconds remaining.
whether or not you pick. If you're picking Chen, you're not thinking about level 15. You're thinking about level 8, level
Reserve
10,
time.
what I'm going to do in the early game.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Invoker.
Radiant team pick.
Yeah, if we
10
go back a
seconds
little bit to when
remaining.
Luna was picked up a lot more prominently, it seemed like one of the most important things you could do
5
is
seconds
get yourself a heavy amount of burst damage to be able to blow up the Luna when you did make that
Phantom
initiation and make sure she doesn't start getting
Team
eclipse damage out.
Secrets, turn to
Or
pick.
it was to make sure that you had a long range physical damage dealer, such as the lone druids, the snipers that started picking up, for you to be able to focus down the Luna whenever she did try and start moving forward. Because that was the one downside, right? Luna
10
amazing
seconds
at being able to
remaining.
push these towers and everything, but you do have low range even with that Dragon
5
Lance,
seconds
and are
remaining.
susceptible to constant harassment of. But I like the fact that Team Secret have picked up a big damage dealer, now also going to be able to pick up
Radiant team back.
a long range physical damage dealer as well. But picking it into the PA gods, it seems a little bit rough.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Team Secrets turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds
So we're presuming
remaining.
Team Secret going to take early control here with the Draw Ranger. Maybe make more of like a 4-man push
Team
lineup,
Secrets,
giving the
turn
Invoker
to
space
pick.
and making sure that C9 do not have the opportunity to take that map control that they've been so notorious for.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Dusk.
Oh.
Radiant team pick.
I was kind of like
10 seconds
I
remaining.
looked at that and I was like, I think Tusk is back. And then I think Zai said something
5
about it on Twitter
seconds
as well. He's
remaining.
like, Tusk pickers, come on out. I think this hero is
Reserve
actually
time.
back into the meta, though I'm not entirely set on whether or not he belongs in the support or offlane role. I feel like the level 10 and how such a big boost
10
does mean that
seconds
it's a
remaining.
little bit better for him to be offlane, but I think we're still in the meta where the offlaners
5
need to
seconds
either be
remaining.
a mech sustain hero or a hard initiator, and Tusk doesn't give you the same kind of hard initiation as used to. Broodmother, oh god. Mm. Disgusting brood pickers, the lot of them. Broodmother did get some decent buffs here, 25% experience gain as opposed to 15% that it was at level 10. And then the other level 10 talent is actually plus 60 spawn spiderling damage. Significant buff. You have some 15 and 20 talent changes as well, but I think we're in the same kind of conversation as we were with the Chen. When you're talking about this here, you're more talking about matchups as well as early game and how you can be able to snowball. Nobody likes to see a Broodmother shut down in the beginning. So all about that early mid game. All right. Puppy is going to be on the Tusk, so we're going to see a nice little roaming Tusk with the Slardar. This actually promotes a lot of duo aggression. One of the unique things about Tusk is that any of the gap closers, Clockwork, Slardar, any of those, Centaur is another good example, any of those heroes get a huge buff just being around the Tuskar, because you have that snowball to be able to close the gap. You also have ice shards to make sure the enemy hero is isolated and separated and can't move back farther, so you're guaranteed to land that stun. This allows this duo, they're particularly potent at being able to get some of those squishier damage dealers in the back lines, and at least that's what we're hoping for Secret. Comes to dealing with the Luna, being able to get on top of her, deal quick damage, make sure that Eclipse does not go off.
Location.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the most fun heroes out there. It has that nice combination of aggression and defensive plays that you can make. Doesn't look like MP caught sight of Noya placing his ward, so we are going to have both the Observer ward and Counter ward out. Counter ward does. Meanwhile, the rest of Secret going to be running pretty deep into Radiant Jungle. Tusk is kind of like a Shadow Demon. Promotes level 1 aggression for sure. You want to be able to get that first snowball play in.
30 seconds to battle.
Yeah.
The battle begins.
How do you think the Wegsort Invoker would have done? You know, just alacrity it up, try and just get those last hits. So Puppy started off in the bottom lane, is going to start making his way towards top. Highlight Die is going to be top lane with MP against the PA Earth Spirit lane. You see rather interesting lanes on both sides. Kezu's still going to have a hard time with the Luna Rubik for sure, unless Tusk is around. Looks like Puppy wants to be able to push back the top lane first, though.
Radiant's middle tower.
The roll in, but they're gonna try and counter, go on a Hesta Joe, and that's gonna be a pretty easy first blood. Unfortunately, the ward placed out by Cloud9. I'm not sure. They just seem to disregard the fact that Tusk was way over. Mid one, beginning of a pretty decent CS differential, and I think that's just going to grow and grow against the Brood Mother. Noya's going to roll away from Puppy. But you can see Baby Knight is already beginning to control the game, the lane quite nicely. He has a lot of creep still to get, and he's already ahead in CS, so... Now, a lot of this was in part taking over the jungle, right? With the top MP no longer having his supports. They ran into the mid lane. Piladai gets here just in time. A little bit of wand charges. Piladai going for the tether block as well. They turn onto Pi, try and finish him off underneath the tower. They will be able to do so. They get a kill, but not the one they were really hoping for. Draw Ranger does stay alive. Nice double kick, but the Ice Shards is going to be able to block Hester Joe's retreat, but MP didn't pursue that one out. Hey, Gods, do you have open mic by chance? I forgot to message you as well. I thought about it too, and then I went to go make tea.
I think I thought about it too. I was like, oh, I should message Cap, and then I did not do it at all. So
level for Slardar, so he's actually doing pretty well against Rubik Luna. I thought that Rubik Luna is actually kind of scary as a dual lane. Rubik's damage is not great, but when it's around Luna, it's a little bit better. And honestly, it's just the fact that Luna has this into Slardar. Anytime he's forced to sprint, he just takes that much extra damage.
yeah, this is definitely a bit more than I'd expect a Slider to get against this type of a dual lane, but where the attention has been elsewhere for Cloud9, just a Rubik Drake. As long as the Earth Spirit's on the map, he probably feels more confident that he can push up often. If Earth Spirit's missing, you're perhaps playing more defensively, even when he may be in the top lane. So Earth Spirit spent a lot of this game showing on the map. Invoker's done alright, like this mid lane, 16 CS to 23. Just having that Tornado protect you, you know Baby Knight can't really dive you, but with the Earth Spirit maybe he can.
Oh, but there is going to be Puppey here. He can actually get a good Ice Shard. So get a snowball onto Baby Knight. Can you block him in? Still underneath the tower. Baby Knight turns around, gets another shot against mid one, but is now out of range. Just had the counter wards to be able to work with, no doubt.
Yeah, they snowballed through a lot of those Spiderlings too. Baby Knight had like a decent sized Spiderling army, and it looked like through the Tornado and that Snowball, they managed to clear most of them out. So once those disables were used, Baby Knight didn't really have the DPS to get the kill, and nice defensive play. All your job here as an Invoker is pretty much just to stay alive, get your levels, and hold on to your tower, which is, if you're running this Brood mid, you're expecting to either get kills or push the enemy mid laner out and take that T1 tower. If you don't achieve any of those three things, the mid Brood to me is not really achieving its goals.
Their armor, and I will smash them.
Puppey's had a pretty good read of what to do so far, and they started off in the off lane, but it countered their aggression at top. Now he just is in the right position as they tried to go on mid one. Does seem to have a knack for being able to read these rotations in the beginning of the game, but score is still pretty even. CS advantage to Cloud9, big part. Baby Knight in mid, but also the Luna put out in CS due to MP and pressure that he's been feeling. He's never going to get perfect success.
I feel like Secret going to be pretty happy with this lane stage. No Cloud9 snowball off the kills. The Earth Spirit, the Brood haven't been able to dominate their lanes perhaps as hard as they would have hoped to. And we'll see mid one seeing a bit more pressure come his way. But another Tornado. And now with that on cooldown, the roll misses from Noya, but they still maybe get this kill.
EMP onto Noya is going to be able to finish him off, but first they get the kill on Invoker. Puppey, little he could do about that one. He wasn't close enough, had the snowball in, which means couldn't really use a defensive snowball to save the Invoker.
Baby Knight now about to hit level 7, so he'll have some good damage output, but won't see any significant damage on that T1 mid tower following the kill, and Baby Knight's actually going to TP himself home to heal up, do a bit of shopping it looks like, and then return back to that lane.
Now, Gods, a large part of picking up Broodmother was being able to utilize the jungle. The mid lane probably being the lesser off lane, but the jungle is still an integral part of the Broodmother. How much do you think that hurts the Brood pickup when you do have this 2-minute respawn as opposed to every single minute?
I I think it's okay because there's more camps to make up for it, and I think this brood mid that we're seeing won't be as reliant on it perhaps as other styles of brood mothers. And once you take, if you able, I think it comes down to how fast you can push this mid tier 1 tower. Like if you can get this tower fast, you get much greater access to the enemy jungle, and then you have your jungle as well as the enemy jungle. You can farm ancients very easily through the insatiable hunger ultimate. So if anything, the new jungle in some ways to me seems maybe even slightly better for a brood. If you can use all the camps and just time your rotation, like your farming pattern, so that you farm up like the whole jungle camps and you're back in lane applying pressure, you just have to rotate between the two a bit more perhaps.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that idea. The fact that mobility is something that Brood Mother has in spades over everyone else. Oh, Eclipse going to be used here. Pylon trying to get out of vision. Couldn't quite make it. Kezu's going to be spotted here on the side. It will be nuked down as well. Cloud9 pick up the double. Can mid-1 respond? He already has haste with the corrosive haze. They're going to be able to get him. Ryze is also going to be dying underneath the tower. Looks like Noya did manage to roll out and TP away. So in the end, that actually works out really nicely for Secret. They may not have struck the first blow, but they got a much bigger kill in the Luna.
Yeah, the Luna gets the double kill, and it does give Baby Knight the space he needs to get the mid tower. It doesn't get denied by mid 1, so feels maybe like a close to even trade. Brood finally gets the mid 1 rotation, which he's threatened to go for the kill, and mid 1's Tornado is still on cooldown for 2 more seconds.
Baby Knight still trying to use his Spiderlings to be able to chase down mid 1, but now he's been caught, turned around on, and
nicely played.
Blast does come in. Pylai die. Got almost picks up that level 6 off of that kill, which is big because they are feeling aggression on all sides, right? Luna just went for a bit of a dive at bottom. The Juro Rangers constantly under assault, so they really need this relocate sometime soon, and you're going to see MP going to be the victim of the aggression we're talking about. Puppey tries to come in, Snowball catches 2. Ryze is going to be left on the other side as mid 1 and Pylai Dade run themselves all the way over here. Nice tornado. Catching has to Joe. Noya, no rollout this time, I'm afraid. A double kill for Pylai Die, and now he is more than just level 6, almost level 7 now.
Yeah, this really has become a great game of aggression versus punish. It's like you C9 are the aggressors, and it's what can Secret do to punish it. And so far, they've just punished all 3 lanes. The dive on bottom, Luna gets a double kill. C9 going in first, get the kills, but then Invoker's there to turn it around, get 2 kills back, including the Luna kill. Baby Knight gets aggressive mid, taking the T1 tower. Got over-aggressive going for the kill on the Invoker, and he gets punished. And similarly, top lane, that's a big win for Secret. Getting those kills there to turn things around. Brood is one of those heroes where you generally get ahead very early, you win your lane, you get a lot of levels, but all it takes is 1 or 2 deaths, and all of that advantage can be quickly lost and thrown away.
You know, the funny part is they haven't actually had time to place any aggressive wards. You know, they've just been rotating. They went from bottom to mid to top, so there isn't a whole lot of aggressive wards to be able to make the read of some of these rotations from the supports. They've just seen the way that the laning phase has gone. They've seen the way that Hesta Joe and Noya were positioned up in that top lane, and somebody made the call. MP was sitting back in his jungle saying, guys, they're going to dive me. I know what's happening. Snowball plus a smoke rotation. Ace isn't going to be caught by the ice shards. Now has to throw out the Eclipse just to be able to keep the rest of Secret away, but Kezu bumps in, hits him with the stun, runs away, and they nicely combo that damage. Pylai may still die to the physical damage, but no, they couldn't actually get him. Nice ice shards, but Noya will manage to roll out ahead of time. Pylai does get nuked down, but Baby Knight doesn't have a whole lot of webs to work with. He's got one off cooldown. Nice kick, triple kick. Oh, Noya, he may have just opened up a number of kills here. Puppey's low enough in the back lines. Baby Knight tries to pursue that one out. Does have the corrosive haze, but he's got the lifesteal going. Can he actually lifesteal enough to keep himself alive? Hit by the tornado, not hit by the crush though. The tornado is enough to finish him off. Burned out of mana, but a wand stick comes out from Ryze, enough for him to be able to fade bolt down the Invoker. Heads to Joe, 1v1 against Kezu until a relocate comes in from Pylai Die, making it a 1v2. Ace now joins the fray up against 2. Can't really do enough damage to kill either one of these heroes, especially with the relocate back available, so he will be just forced away. Gods, did you keep track of how many kills that was? What's the end game?
4 for 3, favoring Secret. Only the Earth Spirit not dying there. That was some crazy boulder smashes from Noya, getting like 2-3 heroes on multiple occasions, as well as AoE silences off. But MP doesn't even come to that fight. He's just sitting top with all the space in the world, and biggest player of that fight was Kezu. I want to say I counted 4 Slider crushes throughout that fight. He doesn't even have the mana pool for that, but thanks to the constant clashes going on, he just kept getting magic stick charges, and he was the hero of that fight. Just his constant sustain being ignored, and the end result was definitely a Secret victory Mid one dies, but he gets a lot of kills in the process, and Baby Knight's rotation gets like instantly shut down. Like he TP's in that cold snap through his insatiable hunger, stopped him getting any kills, and you're expecting that Brood rotation to really lead to a successful turnaround, and it just didn't do that.
Yeah, you've watched plenty of Imperial games. In your mind, is Baby Knight doing enough as the mid Brood Mother? He's taken a tier 1 tower mid, but he's also died a couple times.
This feels very different to the games I've seen in the past where he's run the mid Brood. Those have felt much more dominant in the laning stage. Like I feel like I've seen him maybe win and lose some games on that mid Brood, but almost every single game he played it, he was winning the early game, dominating his lane. And if he did rotate, like, or found like a good rune to rotate with, he'd be successful with it. This is, to me, probably the least successful start I've seen to his Brood Mother. Like, whether or not he can transition out of this into a better mid game, we'll have to wait and see. He needs to perhaps play a bit more around his team, which is what he was trying to do with that TP rotation down bottom. Problem was there was a cold snap urn charge on him, which completely crippled him.
Yeah, it does seem like the Brood Mother, you're supposed to have a pretty big spike right now. Another spike maybe when you finished up. You're going to get Orchid. It looks like Echo Saber actually is the build for the Broods. I can't say I've seen Broods Echo Sabers because we haven't seen a whole lot of 7.0 Brood Mother, but maybe this is going to be the build. But either way, you usually hit your next power spike, like the really big one, the biggest of big ones with the BKB, and then you start like almost very rapidly dropping off. You're a decent hero to latch onto somebody, and with that lifesteal and with that incapacitating weight, neutralize them in a fight. But for the most part, you're supposed to be your most dominant in the first minutes and maybe 25.
I think he has to go straight into the BKB after this Echo Saber just because of the Quaswex Invoker. Hesijo scouts his ward up, but a fast reaction from Kezu. It's a two-man crush, but fighting by that shrine, not of interest for Secret. Yeah, the Invoker has really been not like a counterpick to the Brood. If anything, the Brood beats the Invoker, but the way it's played out in the mid-game with the Quaswex, the Tornado, the Cold Snap, the Urn Charge to go with that Cold Snap, it's been a Invoker-favored matchup this game.
Ace not going to dare to try and get the last hit on that tower. Tried to do it with the Helmet Dominator creep, but honestly, it's because of the relocate. They're creating space for Cloud9 for each other. Yes, they did it in the laning phase somewhat successfully with Baby Knight able to take that tier 1, but they can't actually do much more because of the relocate and the way it's up now for Pilot Eyes. So I think they're going to have to do a little bit more grouping up. I'm not sure what they're waiting on for Ace, because honestly, he's got his level 2 Eclipse. He's got the basic stat items I think you would need on the Luna. I'm surprised they're just not running up at top.
See what the PA doesn't have anything item-wise is getting closer to a Desolator. That's perhaps one of the main items. I mean, that really is that and the Echo Saber, which is now complete back in Baby Knight's stash. Those are the two items that they're lacking. Because yeah, Luna, as you said, is kind of where she wants to be. So I don't think C9 can just sit back and play a farming game. They're not going to scale very well against this Secret draft. Secret with the Slaughter amping up all their physical damage, the control of the Invoker. Their lineup is just going to be much area in the late game and even this mid game point. If Secret is smoked up, getting the jump with the Blink Crush from Slaughter, they have a big edge in these team fights.
Secret, they know what's coming on. They know Cloud9 are going to go for that push, so they're already rotating down to bottom lane, see if they can make some trade-offs here, because trade-offs are well worth it for Secret.
Yep. Worth noting, those Helmet of the Dominator creeps now give 125 gold. Ace, I think, just lost his second one in a row, so those things do hurt and do add to pretty nicely to the economy of Team Secret. But for now, will be that tower trade for Secret setting up to defend this one. They have got to relocate in, and mid one is ready with no Tornado invoked just yet.
Here comes the Puppy TP. They have already got the stun onto Rise. That Blink Dagger is a huge part of this initiation. Hesta Joe is also going to be caught. Puppy managed to get him the blast. Now the relocate on the other side. Hesta Joe knows he caught, so he doesn't even try. But they do have Roshan going on at the exact same time. Tricky Cloud9. It wasn't just a simple tier 1 tower push. They actually created a bit of an illusion there. Managed to take the tier 1, yes, but got an Aegis now for Ace. That is a huge upgrade to their team fight potential. Now Luna doesn't have to worry as much about being bursted down.
Yeah, sneaky little play. PA also bought out, so got the Deso before she died, so didn't lose any money at least. He's going to be Shadow Blading through, gowning out some of these heroes. Noya needs to be careful with his positioning.
Noya into the trees. Don't think he's going to be able to dodge enough, though. Secret quickly execute him, and the rest of Cloud9 are here. Ace especially is in a good position for an Eclipse, but a Force Staff over the cliff actually gets mid one away, so it's MP who's going to be left behind. Tornado dodge definitely by Baby Knight. Another turn, Secret trying to go up into the high ground to help out MP, but now they're just going to end up losing multiple heroes. Mid one and Puppy go down in the process. They should have just let that Drow Ranger die.
Yeah, fighting by shrines and the newly picked up Desolator giving some good chasing damage potential from Hesijo, and that's that first big rotation from Baby Knight that really where he's allowed to come out on top. And I think this sets C9 kind of back on track to hit their BKB timing, because they're likely going to go for at least double BKBs. I guess looks like for now Luna's not really considering one, but the Brood and the PA, the two initiating frontliners, those two heroes both need BKB desperately this game, and that's where C9 are going to really peak out as far as their draft goes. They need to make sure that when they get those BKBs, they win fights convincingly, they take all the outer towers, they get map control, because their lineup will then start to fall off. Like, they won't scale past those BKBs particularly well.
I think if they win triple BKB at this timing, I think they just end up dropping off too hard. So Ace is probably thinking about the later game potential and how he's going to have to probably have a later game 10 second BKB, and for now, just scale and damage.
And even though Luna's not like a really long-range hero, like, she will feel like she's got pretty good body blockers in front of her. PA blinking in, Brood is going to be generally the center of attention, so it's not all that easy to get on top of Ace this game. If you're snowballing in, you're fully committing and fighting into like the Brood and PA BKBs. So you kind of want to kite around the BKBs, which is where Luna is likely going to get kind of somewhat ignored in these fights.
Now, simultaneously, we've been talking about the Cloud9 power spikes, and that's in large part because of the way the Broodmother works and how laning phase is supposed to go with this hero, but it is still Secret with the Drow Ranger strategy. Drow Ranger strats are not the latest of game strategies, and they're also a little bit more focused on, or should Secret be concerned? When should they be really trying to get a lot more control out of this map, or do you think that's just not a problem?
I think this game, it's, with the Invoker, they have really good late game scaling, and I don't think they're like they don't have a win condition that relies on them taking lots of early towers using the Drow Ranger. This to me feels like more like Drow just playing as a Luna-S type hero who's going to perhaps match up well against the Luna due to the superior range. Speaking of which, looking for Ace down bottom.
Silence does hit Ace. Noya tries to get the kick onto MP. Hezu, oh man, Secret. They just didn't pull the trigger fast enough. They are still going to be able to pick up Noya, but Ace is going to try and go in with the Eclipse. He gets stunned up, but Hezu may have committed too much. He ends up going down. The nukes come in. And EMP locked in. Ace is not going to be able to get away from that one. Is going to have to burn out his Aegis. Hester Joe almost finishes off MP, but he managed to get away with the invis. Ace keeps on going. Will finally get down. Puppy looks like he's going to die to Hester Joe, but it wasn't quite the team fight scene I'm really hoping for.
Do they know the IO's coming back? Yeah, they'll scout out. It's like they're pinging it. They'll see that and they'll get the +1. It looks like team fight. It was the Aegis to make sure they win that fight, but they're doing this without having to use their BKB on Brood. They haven't got the BKB on PA, so being able to win fights like this just with an Aegis and no BKB is very important for them. It really feels like taking out Hezu early on in these fights is crucial for them. Take away that amp damage and take away that constant crush.
Hester Joe pushes the Invoker back, so the rest of the team can fearlessly hit that tier 2 tower. But C9 are a little bit lacking is initiation. They've had the Earth Spirit roll in for the early laning phase, but they could really use something a bit better for Hester Joe to be able to combo up with, because he's not going to have a basher anytime soon. He's working on, as we talked about. So I would almost kind of like to see if they can get Noya the space to or Rise, I guess, to get a Blink Dagger, and Rise is actually pretty close to it.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree on that. That fight only partly went as well as it did because Secret engaged onto them, and the Luna gets off an Eclipse. Like, I feel like Luna getting that good an Eclipse shouldn't really happen considering their lack of initiation, but it was Secret who basically set Ace up to get such a good Eclipse in that fight by engaging into him without a creep wave, and his Eclipse just fully blew up Kezu. Like, that in itself wins C9 the fight.
Hester Joe realized the Secret had been peeking on him. They had the successful scan. They know about this one. They're kind of baiting out Hester Joe. They have the 2 supports. Joe is able to get out of the EMP with a nice Phantom Strike. Baby Knight now comes forward with the BKB just in front of the Tornado. Is going to be able to lock down the Invoker and catch Puppey as well. A kick comes out. 5 seconds until Pylai Dai can relocate. MP back out. It's going to be close. Now, MP, he goes down. No tether from Pylai Dai.
Oh, well. That is the fight to follow up the previous one that will set Cloud9 up to take all these outer towers. They may not have the Aegis anymore, but they are in very good position now to push forward. The Manta on Luna gives them a lot of pushing power. They've got level 3 Eclipse, so fighting into this, we're going to be not all too possible. And the Blink initiation on Rubik is now going to arrive as well. So coming anywhere close to C9 at this point is perhaps a death wish for Secret, even with the shorter respawn times.
Yeah, 1 Blink telekinesis. You get a Phantom Strike off of that. Any hero could die from that combination if you just get a little lucky on the crits. Joe is going to head out to bottom lane. They know Secret aren't going to contest, right? So better to try and hunt into your own jungle, see if you can find somebody. Couldn't kill Pylai Dai, but can also push out the lane. Part of the problem is I don't know if he's noticed the Silver Edge complete on MP, so he is still susceptible to this ganking power before he has BKB.
The Silver Edge is going to wear off, luckily, and it looks like he seems aware of potential presence down in this bottom lane. The Radiant Observer Orb was there, so that spotted Kezu moving down, and he won't be going down, at least not right now. So, yeah, gets himself out of there. Pi actually has a Vanguard working on a Crimson Guard, which helps keep him alive and will help his team out a lot against what is some pretty strong right clickers in both Brood, PA, and even the Luna with the bouncing glaives later on. So I like the item pickup. Puppey's gone for a Midas, which is the best item to take advantage of this 35% XP gain. I think Tuss used to quite often go Midas too, because it was like either that or like you rush a Blink Dagger or something. There weren't too many items you needed as a Tuss. The Blink Snowball save was definitely nice, but it looks like Puppey just wants that fast Midas XP growth.
Yeah, especially since we talked about how the 15 talent is a pretty good upgrade as well, the plus 150 snowball damage, so you actually have 2 pretty big nukes. I think that was the problem with Tusk as a support before, is that he had this really unique mechanisms to him, but what he lacked was damage. And when you have all this team fight potential going on right now, you do kind of need some hefty damage coming out from your supports.
In classic C9 fashion, all outer towers down, pre-25 minutes. Now they can take the shrines. Perhaps slightly slower on the Death Bolt, and other times they're going to find a pick off bottom. That's a Slaughter down. With that, they could theoretically threaten high ground. You take out the initiation. At this point, I mean, Secret can still delay the high ground push just using the Invoker, so I imagine Secret could buy time without losing racks, unless someone else gets picked off, but it does put you in a somewhat vulnerable position now, and it looks like they are ignoring the shrines. They're vulnerable, but they are...
Oh, no, tier 3, remember?
You have to... No, you can also do it by killing the tier 2s, can't you?
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I think it's like an either-or scenario. Not 100% sure on that one, though.
I wanted to kind of get into the mind of Icestrong. What do you think that is? You think it's he didn't like the idea of...
No, you're right. No, yeah, it says rather than after all tier 2 towers die. Yeah, so you're right. They aren't vulnerable yet until the tier 3 goes down.
So this, I think in some ways the systematic, we take this tier 2, then this tier 2. I think it was rather boring to watch, and it became this pattern that the defending team, it was just like they happened, the same thing. It was like 5-man, okay, 5-man for the tier 2s. The enemy team would always get tier 2s in response because they would see, okay, they're 5-manning for this, we're just going to 5-man on the other side, try and pick up whatever we can, essentially, and they'd get a number of objectives. Now with this tier 3 being the way to unlock, it means that you can go for these faster style pushes, be able to try and go high ground, take a quick tier 3 tower, and then from there be able to take down those ever-present shrines, which I think are, in many ways, more important than tier 1 tower.
Yeah, so it forces teams to actually go for a more dangerous, risky high ground push, but rewards them. Whereas in the past, pushing out of towers, pretty low risk, especially with an Aegis. But even with an Aegis, pushing high ground, very, very dangerous. You're fighting into shrines, you're fighting into a high ground advantage, potential ways to pull you into the enemy base. So it does make the game reward kind of aggressive pushing play a lot more.
Yeah, we're going to have less of those, like, oh, we got all your tier 2s and your shrines, we have this big gold advantage, but we're also just going to sit on it because we have shit tons of map control.
We saw
As you
games like
said.
that. I mean, that was the C9 Alliance series where C9 took all the outer towers and shrines and then just waited second Roche, third Roche, fourth Roche. I mean, part of that was like how hard it was to break the high ground, but it's one of those things where it's like you want to, like, because of that, like let teams be rewarded for taking high ground and also give team who's lost their outer towers perhaps access to those shrines still, because you want to make it so there's a way for them to contest those Roches.
The Sunstrike was in the right spot for most Roche contestants, but if it had actually been on Roshan itself, they would have noticed Roshan was lacking a little bit of HP, and maybe they would have gotten that tip to head towards that Roshan pit. Though I'm not sure. Do you think
I definitely think they could have stopped. No, I don't think so at all. Not into the BKBs. Vision-wise, they're also lacking. They don't have good scouting potential, and I think this slider will melt too fast when he blinks in for a crush. Kezu looking to work on a BKB of his own. It seems like a necessary item for him. Only not being defended for now, but this two-man rotation, Noya and Rise trying to find a pick-off with the Magnetize, I imagine, and they see MP. There's the Magnetize.
It's going to be a relocate out from Pi.
Yeah.
He saved.
That's a cool idea. You show 3 heroes mid, and it's your 3 cores. There's no way MP thinks a gank's coming his way. It's 2 supports, and then a TP onto the shrine from Baby Knight. Really cool gank from C9, but Pi is in the right place to protect his carry, gets MP out of there. That could have been a game-winning pick-off if C9 had gotten the Drow Ranger without a buyback.
Interesting. Oh yeah, has Hand of Midas queued up. He's prepared for a long game here. If they actually fail to get this Aegis push into the tier 3 tower, they fail to get a lane of Rax. He's prepared that C9 may have to go another. We've controlled the map and everything, but we can't seem to end the game.
They love their support Midases because they're so good at getting in these positions where they take all the outer towers, but then the game still goes 60 minutes because they don't push high ground. And Midas is, for a support, is the dream item to have in those games because there's not much farm on the map necessarily because your cores are pushing all the lanes out, but it allows you to actually get some of those level 15, level 20, probably more like the level 20 talents you're looking at. Very rarely will you see those Midases get you to level 25, but it does definitely help a little bit.
Rise, he's been hit by the Ghost Walk. He knows Invoker is here, but this is straight into an Eclipse. Ace was right there, managed to almost blow up MP. They need a little bit more, and they will have it too. Oh, the Invis, get out. No, he's not going to be able to make it out. Pylai is going to be able to get the relocate back on the Invoker.
That was a sick last second tether relocate out. They couldn't find Pi. He juked through the trees really nicely there, and Had is important that he survives. That would have been a mid-1 buyback if he had gone down. Problem is, Drow does not have buyback, so this is still a 5v4 scenario. Ace has a Butterfly and BKB. Holy crap, this guy is suddenly ridiculously farmed. I don't know how you defend against this Luna.
It's going to be tough. He has earned charges to put him right back to full HP. The tier 3 is down. Shrine's unlocked, but with Luna, you just want to go straight for that lane of Raxes, and Secret are probably going to have to give it up. Look at poor Puppy, thousands of leagues away and still taking all that bouncing glaive damage. So
It always feels unfair.
Yeah.
It's like you're in fog. Like, how do those glaives hit you when they the enemy team can't even see you? And sure enough, they still follow so deep in the base. And yeah, now they go for the shrines with the respawn of the Drow Ranger.
Bye-bye Shrines. Hello map controls for Cloud9. Like, oh, it's just like old times. They took Elena Rax this time around by 30 minutes. And now they've got all that map control that they wanted. Chill out if they need to. They still have that Aegis to work with on head. So.
Yep. Interesting they put it on the offlane PA, but I guess they're going to play Hessajo more like that initiator type role. I mean, Luna's at that point where it's like, is Luna realistically actually going to die in these fights? Can you go on her when she's got a butterfly? I'd say the answer's, to me, in my mind, pretty definitely no. Whereas PA, you blink in first, yeah, you've got your BKB, but you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable position to get bursted down.
Right, Secret, how are you going to do this? Apparently it's a two-man smoke wrap around here. Their two initiators are going to try and find an opening. Now, if they can blow up the Luna, it's great, but they're going to try and take out the supports first. They managed to get a crush and Ice Shards onto 2, but they've already lost Pylai Die in the back lines. Kezu is going to go down. Cloud9 were able to respond with those two supports and stay alive. MP bounces back, but they need to start throwing out those buybacks because the second lane of Rax is in danger. Ace is forced back. Snowball into him, but they really just can't get the damage out onto him. Another snowball hit from Puppy, but The rest of Secret cannot follow up that damage. They're missing 3 heroes without buyback, and honestly, gods, this is looking like the end for Secret in game number 1. Cloud9 are just running over this team.
Yeah, you've taken the 2 lanes. They can go for the megas if they want, but they'd rather go for some of these kills. Luna is just too big to handle at this point, and there may have been some small Luna nerfs to some of the early game with her base damage and the Luna blessing scaling, but Luna, once you've got all your levels and farms, is the exact same potent pushing hero that she always was, and we're seeing it here. Hestajo with Aegis wants to just go blink diving for a few more kills, but this is the end for Team Secret.
Hit him. Hestajo rotten. Not having the luck on the crits, apparently. That'll be it. GG. Secret. So a 32-minute game. Cloud9 closed it out really nicely. 7.02. Don't think it had that much of an impact in this game. Surprise mother pickup from Cloud9 may have been the most impactful thing, but I think that's more Cloud9 and their style than Patch.